Art is one of humanity's greatest mysteries. Have you ever stopped to wonder what exactly is art? Why do we create? What is it that compels us to leave marks on cave walls, paint masterpieces, or craft music that moves us? And if art is all around us, shaping our world, what exactly is it? I've spent my life making things, but I've never truly understood why. And the more I question it, the further down the rabbit hole I go. Art is everywhere. It surrounds us in ways we don't even realize. But where did it come from? And why do we make it? For as long as humans have existed, we have been creating. From the process to the artist to the reason we make it, from what art has become to where it's going. Let's explore. What is art? Life today is a lot different than it used to be. Much of my days feel the same, moving through routines as time moves faster and faster, holding on to whatever I can before it slips away. Art can break up that mentality. Listening to music in the car, watching TV after work. A lot of art is really fun and enjoyable, while other art exists to distract us. What makes us feel some art is better than others is the connection we have with it. Some art speaks to us when we feel out of place, or if we feel like nothing is going right. Art can make you feel not so isolated when you feel broken and alone. Art can be the anxiety you feel when everything keeps piling up and you're about to overflow. Art is a reflection of life. Art's goal is to challenge us by reflecting back what we value in the moment. And in today's world, it helps relieve some of that discomfort. It helps us reflect and have a deeper understanding. So how do we define art? You might say it's an artist's expression, but at its core, art is an idea. Throughout history, it has evolved with the tides of culture, shifting as society transforms. This cyclical exchange between artist, viewer, and culture creates a feedback loop, and in this way art becomes a vessel, nurturing ideas that blossom and spread not just among people, but through time. We all interact with art every day, from the clothes we wear to the signs on the street, from the buildings we inhabit to the apps we stare at. We hang art in our homes and we admire art, but why? Is it as simple as we just like to look at beautiful things? Is good art functional? Well, if that were true, good art would be a fork or a spoon. Something else must exist within art for it to be so important, to play a role in our daily lives. So what is art? Is this art? Is this? What about this? Is this? Most people's understanding of art is simply for it to look nice, to be aesthetically pleasing. But some art exists as if only to say, I was here. Clearly, there are many different kinds of art, but who is to say one is better than another? If everything is subjective, then how do we judge anything? Why do we value some art over others? Does anything mean anything at all? If it's all a matter of taste or opinion, is nothing really good or bad? How do we tell anything apart? Is a 3-year-old's scribblings equal to Picasso? Does Playboy Cardi really compare to Beethoven? All of this is to say the origins of art are really weird and unknown. Nobody really knows why or how art started, and because of that, art today is very misunderstood. Some might look at something like Andy Warhol and think it requires no talent to make. Others might look at Jackson Pollock and think it's a money laundering scheme, and some of art really is that. But art wasn't always like this. So how do we get here? Art started with meaning. Cave paintings served a spiritual and educational purpose. Greek statues carved ideals of balance, harmony, and perfection. Modernism saw the deconstruction of tradition with new ways to create and see the world. The deep roots of meaning were still foundational until we reached postmodernism. We deconstructed art until meaning had little purpose and art existed for its own sake. The evolution of art has given us a window to understanding ourselves and the world around us. Art has changed, and so have we. The things we value are different to what we once did, and that is reflected in the art we enjoy and consume. This fundamental shift lies in the concept of inherent meaning within art. Meaning was something that once guided us through the creative process, but it was also a cultural landmark that enabled everyone to be on the same page. It kept our ideals cohesive, and that might be art's greatest role. Today, art is made for art's sake. In the postmodern era, we've seen art become self-referential, ironic, and sometimes devoid of traditional meaning, leaving audiences to find their own interpretations. For instance, Van Gogh's Starry Night, a haunting modernist landscape of the night sky over a sleepy village. With swirls of blue and yellow depicting the stars in the sky, it's clear to the viewer that this is not a representation of reality, but emotion. Sometime later came Andy Warhol with his postmodern Campbell's soup cans, depicting 32 Campbell soup cans lined up like a supermarket shelf. At first glance, its meaning seems clear and direct, yet it challenges the very notion of meaning by questioning who gets to decide it. There is a sameness to the work, a hypnotic rhythm in its monotony. The significance of the work is not in its imagery, but in the viewer's engagement with it, by replacing personal expression with a reflection of the external world. It prioritizes idea and context over the object itself. These two examples illustrate the transition from inherent meaning in modern art to the postmodern embrace of ambiguity and subjectivity. While Van Gogh's work channels deeply personal emotion, Warhol's engages with collective experience, transforming the mundane into something iconic. This is not to say that modern or postmodern art doesn't have deep and rich meaning. Rather, the meaning within a lot of these works is redirected, broken down, and deconstructed. Warhol's work wasn't just a statement on art, it reflected a broader cultural transformation, one where traditional sources of meaning became fragmented, mirroring a world increasingly driven by commerce, mass production, and shifting identities. While postmodernism has fractured traditional ideas of meaning, it has also allowed for new forms of artistic expression and critique. But in its detachment, irony, and self-referential nature, it has left many yearning for a renewed sense of depth and sincerity. Beautiful things now feel mundane and up to interpretation, and we see that reflected in the art all around us. Much of today's art feels bleak and industrial, reflecting a world shaped by irony and detachment. Meaning once provided a foundation for our collective hopes and desires. Without it, many feel insecure, as nihilism seeps into the fabric of modern life. It's shaped the way we think about the world, the way we think about each other, and the way we think about ourselves. But it isn't all doom and gloom. Art is not just an aesthetic pursuit, it is a reflection of our collective human experience. Whether we realize it or not, art is leading us somewhere. The question is, where do we want it to take us? While things can look pretty bad, we are still hopeful that one day things will be better than they are today. Maybe art can change the world, and maybe it won't. But nonetheless, artists are still at work. And while they work, we can comfort ourselves with the fact that there is more to art than just the things we make. It's the fabric of everything we perceive and interact with. Art is all around us, and it finds its own path. Art is an idea, and it's our idea. But maybe understanding art isn't enough. Maybe the only way to know is to start to create. That's why I started making this, filming everything around me in hopes it sheds light on what it is to create. But something feels off. The harder I try to chase the feeling, the more it evades me. And I have to ask myself, why do I create it all? What am I even making? Is this a product, something to be marketed and consumed? Maybe this was never about art, but about serving my own self-interest and feeding my ego. If I were to keep going down this rabbit hole, I might not like what I find, but I'm gonna find out anyway.